So maybe you're planning currently your perfect holiday in the Canary Islands. But with so many islands, it's hard to decide what's the best one for you. Maybe you enjoy freeing your mind on a hiking trail. Maybe pair it with some water sports and recharging your vitamin D supplies while resting on a beach. And all this without the constant bustle of tourist resorts? How does this sound for you? If this is what you're looking for, La Gomera might be the perfect island for you. Eventually you decide to book a ticket, and after long waiting you arrive on the island. And the first thing you want to do is to check out one of the beaches. And you found the perfect spot on the beach. You lie down and ready to finally relax. While you're relaxing, you suddenly hear some strange sound. Some sort of birds chirping around. And then another one answering. But what kind of birds could this be? Is it possible that this sound is made by humans?
Hi, I'm George from the channel Untraveled Roads. Today we're gonna learn about the whistling language of La Gomera, El Silbo Gomero. And in this episode of the Unsung Heroes of the Canary Islands, we're gonna meet the heroes who are trying to preserve this amazing tradition and heritage that is transmitted from generation to generation. Welcome to this video, or how you would say in El Silbo.
The Canary Islands, a paradise for locals and tourists alike. This small piece of land, located in the vast Atlantic Ocean, is home to 2 million people and welcoming every year more than 14 million tourists, who are the people and organizations making living here not only possible but also a bit better. In this exclusive YouTube series, we will uncover them. We will show you their work and talk with the people behind, the ones that make small miracles every day. Untraveled Roads presents the Unsung Heroes of the Canary Islands.
El Silbo Gomero is a whistled language from La Gomera, which is now a UNESCO protected heritage. But before we learn more about El Silbo, let's speak a bit about the topography, so the landscape of La Gomera. And let's also get a general understanding of what are whistled languages actually.
La Gomera is the second smallest of the Canary Islands. Because of the trade wind that is eternally blowing, also one of the greenest of the Canary Islands. The island is circular shaped and only roughly 22 kilometers in diameter. The island is very mountainous with steep slopes, and you can imagine the island like an orange that is cut in half and then split into segments, and those segments have left deep ravines between them. Those ravines are here called barrancos and are the perfect spot for hikers, but make it difficult to build streets and connect villages. That was a little excursus in the topography of La Gomera. Keep it in mind and let's look at whistling languages. Whistling languages allow to transmit an unlimited number of messages over a long distance. Whistled languages emulate speech by whistling. Generally those languages are very rare and have naturally developed in response to the necessity for humans to communicate in conditions of relative isolation. Most whistled languages have their origin in places with mountains or dense forest. Southern China, Papua New Guinea, the Amazon forest, Sub-Saharan Africa, Mexico and Europe encompass most of these locations. The big advantage of whistling language is that it allows the speaker to cover much larger distance, typically 1 to 2 kilometers, but up to 5 kilometers in mountains, than ordinary speech. Good, enough talking. Let's speak with someone who actually knows everything about whistling languages and El Silbo. And for this we will meet Eugenio Darius, Maestro de Silbo Gomero, so one of the professors of El Silbo. And he will tell us everything about this language and demonstrate it to us. And what location would be better than here in the barrancos? I want to know how Eugenio learned El Silbo.
I learned to speak Silbo when I was 7 years old, but I learned it out of necessity. In the past, the Silbo was used as a necessity because in the past we were using it to decrease the effort. For example, if you wanted to give a message to a person who was 2 kilometers away, we were avoiding all the effort of going up and down the hill by using Silbo. 2.5 to 3 kilometers is a long way to walk, no?
Remember before we spoke about the shape of La Gomera and how it is formed like an orange that is cut in half and then sliced again. And those slices seem to have left deep ravines, here also called barrancos. Still now, but especially in times before tunnels and cars, it was difficult to reach villages. In order to avoid to walk all the time, these few kilometers, it makes a lot of sense that the Gomerian people had to find a solution. But is El Silbo and whistling not actually way too difficult?
As I was telling you, I learned it when I was 7 years old. The Silbo is an art. The most difficult part of Silbo is to emit the sound. From the moment you emit the sound, you are almost done. But the difficult part is to emit the sound, and not everybody can do it. That's why I say it's an art. And now, not everybody can speak it, but everyone can understand it, because it is very easy to understand the whistle language, because what we are doing is whistling the language that we speak, and that's why it's very easy to understand it, but more difficult to speak it.
Understood, but let's see how it actually works.
We have to put the lips like this. The second position is the finger. The finger has to be like this, never like this. The finger like this is the second position. The third position is like this. You have to keep the finger in the mouth, but only with the lips, not with the teeth, but with the lips. The fourth, once the finger is in the mouth, bend the finger so that half of the mouth is open and half is closed. And the fifth is to release the air. You cannot release the air the same way you are blowing. No, it has to go out from the diaphragm. The silbo is always used in this way.
Okay, this is a lot of information. I also tried myself to produce a sound, but what looks pretty easy is actually really difficult. Before La Gomera, I knew a whistling language from the Greek island of Evia. It's called Sphyria. Evia is a very remote island with a similar difficult landscape than La Gomera. And also Sphyria and El Silbo seem very similar, even though they are not connected and were developed independently. Sphyria is now the world's most endangered language, and only 6 people speak it. During my time in San Sebastian, the capital of La Gomera, I actually hear teenagers whistling, well, talking. So I want to know from Maestro Eugenio if El Silbo is still taught, or if he thinks El Silbo will have eventually the same destiny as Sphyria.
The Silbo Gomero is very healthy at the moment, and I am telling you this for the following reasons. Once the Silbo is introduced in schools as mandatory, all the kids on the island already learn how to whistle. And if they cannot emit the necessary sounds, at least they will be able to understand Silbo. We have 2 solid bases, one in schools and the other in the World Cultural Heritage. And that is why I'm saying that the Silbo Gomero will exist as long as there exists people who are gonna transmit it from generation to generation, and that's why the Silbo is preserved very well at the moment and will not disappear.
In the late 20th century, El Silbo actually started to become endangered. The authorities started to maintain and revitalize this form of communication. Since then, Silbo Gomero is part of the school curriculum. Before we see a demonstration of El Silbo, I want to understand how this language actually works. For this, we will go to San Sebastian. Here we find a school that teaches El Silbo, and we are allowed to join a class. Julian is one of the El Silbo teachers here at the school.
The majority of writers think that the whistle language of La Gomera comes from the north of Africa. There are only 2 writers that tell us of the possibility that the Silbo appeared here on the island. What seems to be true and what was taught to the students of Silbo Gomero is that we are talking about a technique imported from the African continent by the Canarian aboriginals. The Silbo Gomero is a very reduced phonological system that is used for communication at large distances and works by substituting the spoken phonemes with whistled phonemes.
In order to transcribe the word into the whistled version, an equivalence table is used. The vowels are reduced to 2 groups, while the consonants to 4. So in order to understand how to whistle a word, we have to substitute every letter with its equivalent. Let's look at some words in Spanish and the equivalent in El Silbo.
Back to the class and let's listen to the whistled version of the word papa.
Whistle papa. Whistle caca. No matter how you would whistle, what you'd get is papa.
Makes sense? No worries, I also did not fully understand it yet. But let's leave the theory for a bit. I want to know from Julian how she actually became teacher of El Silbo.
6 years ago, I heard that they will introduce the Silbo classes, and I decided to present myself there as teacher. In that year, there was a teacher called Eugenio Darias and appointed me to go to the north side of the island and teach there, and I started teaching in my hometown, in Angulo. And then, slowly, year by year, I became teacher of the subject on the island.
How long does it usually take to really be able to understand but also to speak?
Well, this communication system is not easy, but once you are able to emit the necessary sounds, it's true that it's not impossible to speak. All of it depends on the effort that the person puts into this, and it's an art. The Silbo is an art.
Especially the grammar and the vocabulary, is it like as rich as, for example, regular Spanish, and can you have really normal conversations?
I will answer you the same way my teacher Lino Rodriguez was answering. You whistle the same way you speak. You can whistle from Quixote if you want. As long as you understand the language and you control it, you can whistle in any language without any problem.
Okay, this gave me more insights. But let's get back to Maestro Eugenio. He will give us a demonstration of El Silbo.
Okay, let's see. Let's imagine that I'm here and the other whistler is there on top. So, I will call him. His name is Pepe. I will call Pepe. I called Pepe. If Pepe were up, he would answer me like this. He is saying, "What do you need?" It's a conversation. And then I would give him a message. "Come here, there are some guys from the television." If he would understand my message, he would say, Okay. That's when the message is understood. If he wouldn't understand me, he would say, I do not understand you. And in this way, question and answer between two whistlers, we would get to understand the message.
That was it. That was the second episode of the Unsung Heroes of the Canary Islands. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to support me and my channel and don't miss any new episodes, please subscribe. Thank you so much. See you next week for a new adventure. Ciao, ciao.